Welcome in, everybody. It's the coach, and you're tuned in to Madden 19 on EA Sports. On deck, we've got what should be a great matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. With that, we send you up to U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Standing by our commentators, Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
And we find ourselves at the stadium that played host to Super Bowl 52, the wondrous U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Nothing like the fanfare of introductions to an NFL game, and that was in evidence a moment ago. Fireworks, pyrotechnics, you name it. This crowd is ready as their guys get set to match up between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Hi again, everyone. Brandon Gaudin alongside Charles Davis. And Charles, you look at this Vikings ball club. They've been as hot as anyone. The win last week makes it 9 out of 10.
The results are hard to argue. If there's a team better suited for the postseason right now, I don't know who they are.
Meanwhile, for the Lions here, it's late in the year. We all know it. We've seen the calendar for these guys. Their bodies could probably use a break, but they have to push on.
And they're really not as worried about that as maybe we think. They know they've got the entire offseason to rest. All they care about is the game in front of them and finishing strong.
The calendar has turned to December, and we're in the home stretch now as we're underway in Week 13. That'll be taken in the end zone. And he won't return this one. He'll go down to a knee, and they'll start at the 25. So here are the Lions now coming out for their opening drive. They'll be led out by a former Pro Bowl quarterback out of the University of Georgia, Matthew Stafford.
And what I loved about meeting with him before the game was talking to a guy who takes ownership of his performance. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last week, but all he focused on was the loss, okay? And he did say, if I change my stats a little bit, not necessarily for me to look better, but that'll help my team.
Now a first down throw, Stafford. And Rudolph has it left side. And now a fumble. The ball's out. And the Vikings pick up the football.
To put it mildly, that is not the way anyone wants to start off a game. You fumble on your first offensive snap. But now what you're worried about is, does that linger throughout the game for your guys on offense? And how's the defense going to handle it? Because no one expects to run out on the field on the first play and have to all of a sudden start to play themselves.
And that play will go nowhere. Losing yardage back near midfield at the 49. That's going to go as a loss of 2, and it'll be second down.
Well, that's the big drawback to this play. Even if somehow the quarterback pitches it, he's not immune to the big hit. In this case, he kept it and absorbed it anyway.
First play of the drive goes the wrong way. Here's second and 12. Second down, Cousins. And nearly an interception here on their opening drive. But instead, third down. We documented it last week. They played so well defensively. 4 interceptions. Tried to get their hands on another one there.
And when you've had 4 the previous week, you are just itching for more the very next week. And there was a great opportunity. It went by the wayside. But let's not underscore what's going on with this defensive unit. They are around the ball every time it's being put in the air.
And now the third down throw incomplete as well.
The beauty of being able to play a zone defense, when you can sit back and see the ball coming out of the quarterback's hands, guess what? Creates a lot of confusion, kind of a muddle in the middle of the field where you go make a play on the football.
Now the Lions offense, they get ready to head back out there. And a fumble last time. Ball security. Talk about it all the time in the National Football League. They've got to be better at it on this drive.
Don't you think that when every team gets together for the first time, I don't care if it's OTAs, mini camps, first day of camp in the regular season, ball security comes up about what, the second sentence of the coach's address?
And those are so many drills focus on that.
All the time, and they do drills to make it even tougher to simulate game situations. Doesn't always work out, though.
And he's got it past the 30 before he's hit and dropped. Give him 13 yards on the opening play of the drive and also give him a first down.
That's a very nice game there. Confidence-building run. Love the execution up front, and the way he pressed the hole, absolutely perfect.
So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. Stafford on 1st down. And this one hauled in by Rudolph. Those are the numbers from Rudolph from last week's game. 6 catches, 65 yards.
And he's able to pull that last pass in, but this is usually a pretty tough unit to try and maneuver against. They're in the top 10 in the league against the pass, and you and I both know there's not much difference between 1 and 10.
And they'll go on the ground. And not much there at all. Maybe a yard up to the 43. And now the offense for Detroit.
Kyle Rudolph had his 2nd Pro Bowl appearance last year when he had 8 touchdowns, just 1 off of his career high. One of the most likable, upbeat players in the league, continues to improve as a blocker, is one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the league. One of the guys that the Vikings like to build around for the future.
Now they'll run it on the toss. And now running right through it. And eventually taken down, but how about that athletic spin move we saw? Gives him the 1st down yardage. Just a gain of a couple, but good enough to keep the drive rolling.
I always appreciate runners who understand situations. That was just 3rd and inches. No reason to dance around in the backfield and try and break off a bigger play. Just go pick up the 1st down, and that's exactly.
And the pressure gets to him and brings him down. Stafford is sacked. Ben Gideon in there to bring him down for a loss of 7.
Well, the pass rush has been a real strength of late. They know how to get out to the quarterback.
Absolutely. 4 sacks last week. That's their first one here. Anything in particular you've seen from them or on film?
I think that they're winning athletically up front, winning those one-on-one battles, but also when the offensive line wants to keep everyone in and man protect, they know how to scheme their way back to the quarterback as well.
And he'll be brought down shy of the 40 at the 38-yard line. Only a yard there. Snipped out well defensively, and it brings up 3rd. Here now the starters defensively for the Vikings. They were very good last week in the win over the Saints.
And all defensive teams that I know talk about creating turnovers. Takeaways, they call them. And anytime you can get 2 or more in a game, you've had a really, really good performance. They exceeded that number in a big way.
Third and long. It's Stafford. And he'll get it out near the 40 to the 39. They'll give him a yard on the play, and that's going to bring up a 4th down. Instead of throwing it downfield, Charles, they just tried to dump it underneath there. You like the call?
I do. I think it's a high-percentage play because you get the completion, and what you're counting on is your back to use his legs and his elusiveness to make people miss and pick up the 1st down. In this case, it didn't happen.
And now out comes Minnesota. And our game's hit a little bit of a lull here, a little bit of a snag. Punts on back-to-back drives.
And old-school coaches don't necessarily mind that. Didn't turn it over, right? Didn't create a big play for the other team. Right now what you're looking for is can you gain an advantage in field position? And that's what both teams are seeking right now.
Yeah, they'll be seeking to gain that advantage here on this drive. And the first play of the drive there is incomplete. He couldn't quite hold it. Got hit. Ball pops out. Incomplete.
That would have been a great catch, but it's real difficult to hold on to it because it was contested all the way. Would have been a great play if he'd been able to haul that one in.
A 2nd down throw for Cousins. He's got it complete to Stephon Diggs. And he's got it past the 30 before he's hit and dropped. The Vikings 1st down. Diggs able to find his way free and get the catch from Cousins. He missed on his first 3 passes, was 0 for 3. Now gets a connection. Maybe that'll get him going.
Yeah, it wasn't a time for panic, but there was some concern because once you start in a certain pattern, you're wondering, can you get out of it? And that flips the other way, too, when you're throwing it really well. In this case, now he's got his first completion. They think he might be off to the races. It's a tough one right there. He ran right into the teeth of the blitz as the linebacker was freed up in order to stuff that one for a loss. I think quarterbacks got to see that. Got to find a way to audible into something a little more advantageous.
Wide open. It's Allen, complete. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. First catch for him on the afternoon, and it results in a first down.
Well, that tight end position, it just seems to continue to evolve every year in the NFL.
Yeah, you're getting really terrific athletes. A lot of them maybe were wide receivers at one point. They continue to give you speed, great hands, and big bodies, which make them excellent targets for quarterbacks.
Looking for more there on first down, but this throw downfield incomplete.
Even without a ton of pressure in his face, it just shows how difficult it is to pick apart his own defense. Those guys are sitting back, and they're not playing receivers as much as they're playing the eyes of the quarterback and when he delivers the ball.
Now Cousins, and he slings one that's incomplete. Stephon Diggs, his intended receiver, and it's third down.
Charles, he doesn't seem to be particularly in tune with his receivers, just 2 for 7 throwing the football, but he did seem really locked in before the game.
Yeah, and that has to do with receivers sometimes. Sometimes the defenders knock them off their routes, and you're usually pretty precise. 1, 2, 3 cut, balls out of his hands to the receiver. In this case, might be off by a half step either way. They've got to find a way to get back in sync. I think the punter might start to get into a pretty good rhythm here if he keeps getting opportunities. But that's the last thing his team wants to have happen, right? The last thing you want to see is your punter feeling pretty good because he's out there all the time.
Yeah, first quarter only, but they're 0 for 2 on third down conversions to start this thing.
So the Lions offense ready to go back out onto the field.
And things haven't started so well for this side. 2 drives, 2 punts.
So now you've got to start looking not just at play calling, but which guy's going to step forward and say, okay, let's get this thing done. Because within that unit of 11, sometimes one guy can make a big-time play and break through the barrier.
And they'll run it here. And they're able to get this one across the 35.
First play of the drive going for 14 and a first down.
And that's a run that'll energize an offensive line. They'll take that one all day long. Fundamental breakdown by the defense. You've got to be able to make plays on the edge.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. Running game working. They'll stick with it on first down. And nothing doing. He's immediately taken down at the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Eric Kendricks.
All right, quick observation, Brandon, because early on in this game, I'm seeing linebackers playing with their noses close to the line of scrimmage.
And my guess is the wheels are turning on that other sideline. As a play caller, you're filing that away right now, aren't you?
Yeah, you're trying to find that opportunity later on when you can play action them or stick something to them between the second and the third level.
So 1 quarter in the books on a cold December afternoon. They've got it 2nd and 10 to start things out. And they'll go with the ground attack here. And this play will be blown up. He'll lose yardage back at the 38. That'll be a loss of a yard, and it leads to a third down.
Some of these play calls, I think they're a little conservative. But you know me, because it's easy to sit up in this booth, right, and make all the calls and think I'm going to be correct. But I would like to see them open things up, because otherwise this defense is going to gang up on the run and shut them down.
And he'll find Galladay. That's complete. His first catch, good for 14 there and a first down.
Well, partner, when you ask anyone other than your QB to throw the ball, you must have a lot of confidence, or you think you're really going to fake them out, and it looks like they did exactly that.
Yeah, going deep in the playbook and a great grab on the other end. Completing it here to Marvin Jones. And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. 11 more yards that go around, a first down as well. Stafford going to come up 1st and 10, and he's a perfect 6 for 6 here to start the ball game. And on the ground they go with the running back, and he'll get 3 down at the 34-yard line.
What's the old expression, 3 yards in a cloud of dust? In this case, it's dust-covered pellets. It's no longer that old grass that we used to play on, right, and chew it up. Now we've got that artificial surface. You see the pellets go up. Still a nice play by the defense.
To throw on 2nd down is Stafford. Dumping it off for Johnson. And that play is blown up, losing yardage back at the 35. It'll go as a loss of a yard, and it'll set up 3rd down. Really good defensive effort. They were all over that little swing pass out to the right side, but for lost yardage.
Terrific read, better execution and done with a lot of enthusiasm, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
They saw it all the way, ran to the football, and caused a nice play for lost yardage.
Incomplete. He had his hands on it but couldn't pick it. But it's now 4th down.
I know ultimately that feels like a good defensive play, but I know it's really not. They had a chance to keep points off the board. Now they have a chance to kick a field goal by missing that shot.
Yeah, especially at this spot in the field. He's got to be upset he couldn't come up with that INT. And Prater's kick is on the money. It's good. And the Lions are going to take a 3-0 lead.
These kickers now, it used to be that a 50-plus yarder was cause for celebration. Now seemingly automatic.
Yeah, isn't it funny when we prepare for a game, when you look at the backgrounds of these kickers, it's interesting, isn't it, to find out they were all-state quarterbacks, receivers, defensive backs, all-state wrestlers, right? Baseball players. We're finding athletes all along, and now they're just specialists putting it through the posts.
And now out comes Minnesota. They've had it twice. They punted twice. Not the start they were hoping for.
Not at all, and let's face it, every facility we visit, everyone talks about converting on 3rd down, how big that is. In this situation, they've had to punt it away twice, so they're furiously going over things on the sidelines. What do we need to do to pick up a 1st down and change our momentum?
It's a 7-yard carry to set them up with a 2nd and 3.
Well, no matter how they phrase it, staying on schedule, staying ahead of the sticks, whatever you want.